Hey Gabrielinos, it's Gene Harris, your friendly neighborhood police chief for the city of San Gabriel. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to 411 with the Chief, where we try to answer any questions that the community may have in the spirit of transparency and engagement, and we love to meet with the folks in the community. Hopefully, we're going to get back to in-person meetings here pretty soon, but we will let you know when that occurs, and then we'll open the doors and we'll have some fun together. In the meantime, we still have to maintain this virtual posture, but we'll try to get the information out to you. As I said, I hope everybody's well. In that vein, I want to make sure that you know that we are still providing 100% of our police services, even though we're still following some of the COVID guidelines and making sure that everything is okay for the members of this department and the members of the community. We want to thank the members of the community for all of the extra PPE and masks and things that were donated. It's immeasurable how much that helped us in the performance of our duties, so we want to thank you for that. We want to always be here for you and the folks in this community. A couple pieces of information. We want to make sure to let you know that later this year we'll be going back to the catalytic converter etching. We're not sure what the date is yet, but as soon as we have that date toward the end of the year, we will put information out and let you know. I want to remind everybody about the new false alarm building permits. We have to make sure that we get everybody up to speed who has an alarm system, who doesn't want to be billed for false alarms, to make sure you go to the website or contact the finance department to ensure that you are aware of what the permit process is. The permit process used to only include commercial, but it now also includes residential customers, so very important. Remember, go to the website, seek that information out amongst all the other information that we put on that website, just so you can stay informed. We appreciate it. We will also be having a police department booth at the Fall Festival on Friday, October 29th. We want to make sure everybody comes on out and has a great time. That being said, remember, Halloween is right around the corner. We're probably going to have a lot of our little ghouls and goblins and kids running around now that we can get back out and do some things that are normal. Just make sure that we're exercising all the safety and due regard for those pedestrians and our little folks in costume as they're walking through the streets of our community. So with that, we have no questions this time around for 411, so I want to remind folks, we're here to answer any of your questions that you may have. Please submit your questions for the next one if it's virtual, and if we happen to go live before then, make sure you show up and get those questions answered. The only bad question is the one that never gets asked and goes unanswered. So we're here to answer anything that you may want to talk about. With that said, I hope everybody has a great rest of the year. Remember to contact us in community engagement or my office directly if you have any questions or concerns, and we look forward to seeing you all at future events. Thank you.
Hello, this is Greg Devink, your friendly neighborhood public works director and city engineer for the city of San Gabriel, and this is the October update of 411 with the Chief. And I'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of public works in the city of San Gabriel. I have a couple notes. So our field operations crew is still, month after month, continuing to work on installing fiber optic conduit, a 4-inch conduit, along almost the entire length of Las Tunas, starting at the Alhambra border and all the way to San Gabriel Boulevard on the south side of the street. We are doing that in preparation for paving the street. We don't want to put in 1.5 mile conduit after we pave it, but it's part of coordinating a lot of work going on in the city. So Metro has funded the city several $million for a variety of projects, actually $25 million for all the projects. And what's happening with that is there's 3 projects, or 3 intersections that are going to be fully reconstructed on Valley, one at New, one at Del Mar, and one at San Gabriel Boulevard. They'll get all new equipment, new corners, new technology, new traffic geometry, some lane changes, all with the intent of decreasing congestion. So that is wrapping up the preliminary design and feasibility study. It'll move into final design soon, and it's going quite well. We're working jointly with the city of Alhambra because half of the intersection at New and Valley is in their jurisdiction. But it's going quite well. Another project that's active with that same Metro funding is fiber optic connectivity, where we are going to run fiber conduit with that project for the full length of Valley and along San Gabriel Boulevard. We're putting in Las Tunas with our own city forces because we're trying to beat the paving contractor. And the third project, well, it's actually 3 on Valley, so it's the 5th project that's active with that 710 money, is technology upgrades at all our signalized intersections. So we are getting new cabinets, new controllers, battery backups, Ethernet switches, just modernizing all our signals, and then we will tie them together with fiber. Some of them will be tied wirelessly. But what it enables us to do is to synchronize and monitor traffic better, and even to share data with our adjacent jurisdictions that can synchronize traffic even from one city to the next. So it's a lot of work happening, but the main thing is street paving. The most complained about thing in our city, I'm pretty sure, is the condition of our streets. And we have just started the resurfacing, probably our largest project that's ever been done in terms of resurfacing our streets. And this project is over $5 million, between $5 and $5.5 million. Pretty much all grant funding. We've applied for a big variety of grants, and the contractor has finally mobilized. It's actually happening. So they've started at the south end of the city. They are doing Palm. As I make this video, they're doing Palm just north of Valley. And what we're doing is grinding down 4 inches at the gutters and tapering that out to 0, and then putting a whole new 4-inch thick street over the old street for the most part. At the gutters, the elevation will be the same, so we don't affect stormwater flow. But we are essentially putting 4-inch new streets on over 10 miles of our very worst streets. And in the first day, the batch plant that makes the asphalt had a problem and they couldn't get asphalt. So we started off day 1 with no production. But day 2, yesterday, they started, and they're making very good progress. So we do anticipate the project will actually wrap up. We're trying to finish by Thanksgiving. And the contractor, I know you can't see this, but has turned in their tentative preliminary schedule. It's actually 2 pages long, but it does show everywhere they're going to go and the sequence of the work. And it does show that they should be done by Thanksgiving of this year. It is an awful lot of work, and already in this neighborhood on Palm, when they started, I believe just north of Chestnut, they already discovered when they went grinding 4 inches deep that the street itself was only 2 inches thick on dirt. So it's disappointing. It's not entirely surprising that our streets are in such bad condition. They were actually probably very poor quality when they were new. Nobody puts in 2 inches of asphalt over dirt as a new street today. But that's what we've discovered was the case. We discovered that yesterday. But I'm happy to say that the new streets going in will be twice as thick as the old streets and new with rubberized asphalt, which has a bit more tensile strength and the ability to flex a bit. And so we're hoping that mitigates cracks coming through. On Las Tunas, we're going to grind the entire street, not just the edges, put back 2.5 inches of conventional asphalt because it does not flex and move, and we'll put an 1.5 inch rubber asphalt wearing course over the top. The reason we don't want to go extra thick is because Las Tunas has a lot of truck traffic, a lot of traffic period, a lot of signalized intersections, and if you put in an asphalt that is flexible, you get rutting and shoving, which you've probably seen in some places where the street, even though it's fairly new, tends to be warping to follow the tire lines, where cars and trucks brake and accelerate a lot, it tends to happen. So we're trying to mitigate that by just having a thin rubber layer and a less flexible asphalt underneath. It won't work as well to resist cracks coming through, but it's just kind of a trade-off that we're doing on a very busy commercial street. So that's paving and fiber and signal upgrades. Other things that are happening are we're continuing design work to upgrade our sewer lift station, which has been problematic since the day it was built with the ACE trench. Even during construction, it failed and backed up sewage once. And then when we inherited it, it failed again, and it's been a maintenance nightmare ever since. So we are going to upgrade the whole system and hopefully mitigate all future spills. We're also putting together a biddable package to replace air conditioning for the police department. Their system is very old and actually at the moment for the last month severely broken to the point where AC is just not even working, and it's summer and there are some smaller systems within the building, but the main system is down. And as winter approaches, the boiler is also down, so it just needs to be redone. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about is, well, two last things. We're continuing to try to get the City Hall elevator wrapped up. We did a significant upgrade project, and we're down to the very end of it, and the vendors had problems getting the components, possibly from the chip shortage or COVID production or trade wars, I don't know, but there's issues getting all the parts they need. They're very close. They were here yesterday and discovered one last problem with an override and an overload switch. I don't know what that takes, but they can't order the state mandated inspection until they certify first that everything's working properly. So we may not have in-person council meetings until the elevator's working, because that's the only ADA access to the second floor. Unless the only other provision we can do is to have probably our fire department staff man the stairs for anybody who absolutely needs ADA access and can't ascend the stairs or descend the stairs without assistance. So we're trying to get that done. And we did apply for a large Measure W grant, which is a parcel tax countywide that is intended to fund projects to mitigate stormwater runoff contamination. And we did apply for a project at Lugo Park where we intercept the flood channel next to Lugo Park, bring the water into the park that's already been filtered and minimally screened, and then pump it. It goes into a chamber and then we pump it. Lugo Park actually has a little man-made creek bed that is dry all year, and this will actually flow water in that creek bed. And on the other side of the park towards New, there will be a bioswale constructed, a long one, and so water will pump into the creek and into a bioswale, which is essentially kind of a swampy atmosphere with different vegetation in it. And the intention there is to get the water out of the flood channel and percolate it into the ground, which does two things. Well, it does more than two things, but it decreases pollutant runoff from the flood channel to the open waters of America, and it recharges the groundwater aquifer where LA gets quite a bit of its potable water supply. And there's in drought a tendency to want to increase that supply and tap into that supply more. And it's not really a problem that we're taking contaminants out of the channel and putting them into the park. They actually, the contaminants get into the bioswale and also leach through the ground. And actually, as the water travels through, I don't even know, maybe 70 or more feet of soil below the park, the soil actually removes the contaminants, and really it's quite clean water by the time it gets through. And also the bioswale, just the vegetation in there, the trees and the plants break down some of the pollutants, and so it serves several purposes, but essentially it reduces contamination. That's the intent of it. So that is what I have for this October update. I look forward to seeing you next month, and I'm going to try to remember to bring a camera and go out and shoot a video of the paving operations and explain that a little more by the time you see this video. Thank you. Hello, this is Greg Devink, Public Works Director for the City of San Gabriel. And right now I'm at the intersection of Euclid and Grand, and paving work is happening on Euclid right now, and I'll run down there and talk a bit about it. But what we have right here, I'll show, is that the first layer was put down yesterday, and they are putting on a second layer today of rubberized asphalt. The total thickness should be 4 inches, and this truck right here is spraying what's called a tack coat. It's a tar liquid substance that makes the next pass of asphalt bond to the old pass. So wherever there's a joint between freshly rolled asphalt and brand new, this will help it bond together. And what we've also done is use rubberized asphalt, and what that really is car tires have been shredded up and put into the asphalt mix. It does cost slightly more, but we got a grant for $250,000 to do this. It does prevent car tires from going to the landfill, but also it provides more flexibility, more tensile strength, a smoother ride, quieter traffic, and well, actually you can just see they're spraying the whole road now. They did the joint that they're about to pave, and now they spread the whole road with this tack coat. And I guess they'll do one more pass to get the rest of this lane, and they will spread asphalt and roll it. The initial rolling with this machine will be on vibration mode and kind of shake it, and then they'll do several passes without vibration to really get a smooth finished surface. You can see down there they have a second roller ready to come, and they also that's the vibration was just turned on. They also drip water onto the drum to help it not stick. This hot asphalt is quite sticky, especially the rubberized version. So this project is possibly the largest paving project San Gabriel's ever undertaken, and it is paving over 10 miles of our very worst streets, including Las Tunas. So it's a very exciting project. We're hitting up a lot of bad residential streets, and the heavy construction is anticipated to end around early November. The entire project should end before Thanksgiving, so if all goes well, that's the game plan.